Hello, my name is Emily and I'm going to be talking about the integumentary system today. First we're going to talk about the hypodermis, which is all the way down there. The hypodermis attaches the underlying tissue and organs to the dermis. It is made up of adipose tissue and it's very fatty. This is kind of where heat capacity comes in as well. Heat capacity just kind of regulates our heat, and that's found in the epidermis. And then we have the dermis, which is right here. We have the papillary layer and the reticular layer. The dermis supports and holds up the epidermis. Then we have the epidermis. The epidermis are those top layers that line and cover. They are made up of stratified squamous cells and they have 4 to 5 layers. First we're going to start with the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum are the exposed surface of skin. They contain 15 to 30 keratinized cells. They are resistant to water molecules. Water molecules are H2O atoms linked together, but a good example of this is a hydrogen bond, which are just water molecules that attract one another. So when I say that it is resistant to water molecules, I'm saying that it's protective and it doesn't want that water to all seep into the skin, but it rather kind of resists it. The second layer is the stratum lucidum. I did not put this layer in the cake because it is not found anywhere in the body except for the thick skin, which are the palms and the soles of our feet. It's a clear layer of skin, but it is only found on that thick skin. Then we have the stratum granulosum, which are those purple layer. Stratum granulosum are the layer of dead cells in the epidermis that are kind of at the surface as well. They are grainy, that's where they get their name. The third layer that is pink, those are spinosum, stratum spinosum, are desmosomes that bind together 8 to 10 layers of keratinocytes, and they get their name because they are spiny. Then the very last layer, which is that light purple, is the stratum basale, and that is the deepest layer of the epidermis. Next, those dark purple dots right there that you can see are called the melanocytes. The melanocytes give off a certain color from light to dark depending on how brown the pigment that it synthesizes and stores is. Then those yellow dots right there, they start at the basale, they go all the way up into the stratum corneum. Those are called keratinocytes. Those are the denominator and the most abundant of the epithelial cells. They produce keratin, which are proteins produced by cells with fibrous structures. Then we have sweat glands. These two right here, sweat glands, we have 2 types. The first one is the apocrine sweat gland. The apocrine sweat glands are the sweat glands that produce and secrete from our armpits, our nipples, and our pubic regions. And they usually originate from like a hair follicle, right there. Then we have our merocrine sweat glands, which is right here. Starts all the way in the dermis, goes all the way up into the epidermis, which goes all the way up into our stratum corneum. These are the true sweat of our body, so to speak, and we kind of sweat them when we're either in stress or there's heat. And this is sensible perspirations, which is where we can notice the water loss. We also have insensible perspirations where we lose water that we can't see. Another factor that weighs into skin is our ultraviolet radiation. A common form of this is the sun. It is essential of getting vitamin D. Our melanocytes, or our melanin, has significant amounts of it, but we don't want too much of it or it'll damage our DNA, which in turn could cause cancer. Then we have cholecalciferol, which is another form of vitamin D. When the spinosum layer and the basale layer of the epidermis are exposed to the sunlight, they turn into cholecalciferol. Then we have cholesterol, which is needed in the plasma membrane. It is a compound of steroid type that is found in the tissue. This just helps maintain the proper moisture level throughout the process of evaporation. And evaporation is just when a liquid is changed into a mist or a vapor. I hope this video was relevant to you and that it helped you understand skin a little bit more. Thank you and have a nice day.